Good, good afternoon, everyone. Today, me and Kashyap are here to give a presentation on system security. Introduction. The security of a system is a system property that reflects the system's ability to protect itself from accidental attacks. Basically, it means it is the protection of information and data from theft or other type of damages while accessing it. Example, example of a security system: firewall. It is a system which monitors and controls incoming and outgoing network traffic based on security rules. It is a barrier between trusted network system and untrusted network system. And can you forward to the next slide? So some principal dependency properties. There are four properties. Availability. Ability means that information data is accessible to authorized users whenever the users needed the data. There it should be always be available. It means that if if someone wants to access the data, there should be always available the data available of data in that system. Next one is reliability. It means the parts component system to do their function without collapsing as they designed for a certain period of time with certain level of it means reliability means it cannot be collapsed, it cannot get collapsed when it's running on their function because it is prepared to manage the data and information in the security system. And third one is safety. It means that the maintenance of the system is required as per its need. Otherwise, there is a chance to get an attack by the thief. So we should enhance our security as the time goes. Means we should upgrade our security levels time by time to get our data and information safe. And security, it refers to providing a protection to the system to secure our important data information stored in the system. If there will be no security, then our data information is in risk. Can you forward to the next slide? So there are 2 points. Security is essential as most systems are networked so that external access to the system through the internet is possible. Basically, it means we need security firstly. Without security, a system cannot run properly because it is interconnected with each other and open to all. So there might be a chance to be attacked. So we need system security as good as possible. Second point, security is precondition for availability, reliability, and safety. Basically, without security, there will be no use of availability, reliability, and safety. Without security, these three things, availability, reliability, and safety, are not working in system security. So we need this to. And next slide. So damage from insecurity. Denial of service. The system is forced into a state where normal services are unavailable, where services provision is significantly degraded. I have an example of this. There is a common example of denial of services: flooding. Flooding means it occurs when the attack system is flooded with large amount of traffic that the server is unable to handle. Next slide. Corruption of program or data. The program or data in the system may be modified in unauthorized way. It means some attackers will enter in our system and modify our data without our permission. This leads to damage in our system. And next slide, please.
Yes. Can you move to the next slide?
Yes, ma'am. Disclosure of confidential information. Information that is managed by the system may be exposed to people who are not authorized to read or use the information. Basically, somehow our data get exposed, or attacker might expose our confidential data without permission and leads to damage our system. Next slide. Next slide.
Wait. I'm trying, but it's not.
And this is a one point of system security access, something such as a computer system that needs to be protected. It basically means that it should protect them from illegal access, use of data without permission leads to loss to the system. It means some illegal, some we should protect it. Nowadays, attackers illegally access our system, and our data can be exploited or modified to something else. So it is very it is insecure to our system. Next slide. Vulnerability. Vulnerability means a weakness in a system that may be exploited to cause loss or harm. It means it is a weakness which can be exploited by a attacker to perform unauthorized action within the system. This weakness could be exploited the whole system security policy. Means it is a type of weakness in security system. If it get attacked, then it put loss and harm to our system security. Ma'am, from now here, Kashyap will take over the remaining slide.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, correct. Carry on.
Thank you, Sahil. From here, I'll continue. So next we have attack. So it says that it is an exploitation of a system's vulnerability that is a deliberate attempt to cause some damage. So what it is in computer, an attack is an attempt by an attacker to expose, destroy, steal, or gain unauthorized access to make unauthorized use of an asset. An asset, we can take it as important documents, photos, or any personal things. It could be anything which we don't want to share with others because they can misuse the documents. Next. So next we have threat, a system vulnerability that is subjected to an attack. An unauthorized user will gain access to the system by guessing the credentials, that is the login ID or password of an authorized user. So in other words, a threat is a negative action facilitated by a vulnerability that results in an unwanted impact to a computer system or an application. Next. So now we're going to talk about ways to reduce attacks and threat in system security. So first we have vulnerability avoidance. It says that the system is designed so that vulnerabilities does not occur. For example, if there is no external network connection, then external attack is impossible. External network we can take as an example of public Wi-Fi. In such cases, an attacker creates a fake hotspot with the intent to perform man-in-the-middle attacks on the victim. And if the victim joined their Wi-Fi, then and after joining the Wi-Fi, if the victim can run any task, like the victim can send money to someone. So the network allows the attacker to read, insert, and modify the message. For example, if I'm sending money to someone, the attacker can get the access to change the credentials, like he can change the account number and he can change the receiver also. So to avoid this type of attack, we need to use private network, or we can use VPN also. That makes the network secure and the scams don't happen easily. Next. So next we have attack detection and elimination. The system is designed so that vulnerabilities are detected and neutralized before they result in the exposure. For example, we can take it as virus checkers. So virus checkers, as also known as antivirus software, it plays an important role because it is designed to detect, prevent, and take action to remove malicious softwares or files which harm the computer and keeps the computer safe. And also one more thing, we can find many free antivirus software in the web which claim that they're legit, but most of the time they are fake. So we must use a uh, legit antivirus software that keeps the computer safe. So next we have require strong password and good password. So it says that a strong password is our first line of defense against attacker attempting to gain unauthorized access of our data. So what happened? Most of the people put their password as their first name or email or phone number, which makes the attacker to crack the to guess and crack the password easily. So we must set up a strong password which with a combination of uppercase and lowercase alphabets along with uh, numbers and special characters. So a strong password is our first defense. Urge caution before clicking. Most data breaches arises from phishing malware attacks, so we need to check twice that the site is legit. So phishing is an old type of cyber attack that uses email and website. I'm giving as an example that uses email and websites as a weapon. The attacker tries to track the victim. I'm sorry. The attacker tries to trick the victim into believing that the message that is sent to the victim is something important. Like they can send a message that may be a request from the bank. So people will think that this is we cannot speak the message from bank, and if we click the message, it results in losing our credentials, the account number, account password, everything, and important things, and also money. So we can identify a phishing email by suspecting the most of the fake uh, because if the email is coming from a legit website, then the spelling will never be incorrect. So the phishing email, we can suspect it by with the grammar and spelling mistakes, or if it's asking for personal information. We can prevent avoiding by the use of uh, we can prevent it by avoiding the use of public networks and beware of pop-ups. Also pop-ups, when you search for something in a web browser, then many illegal websites pop up in the right hand corner. I'm just giving an example. So they claim that they're legit, and but most of the time they're fake, and 2 out of 10 people thinks that yes, the system has something wrong going on, and they end up clicking the uh, website, the pop-up website, and it results in losing their assets and documents. Next. Provide two-factor authentication. So it is an extra layer of security designed to ensure that the admin is the only person who can access the account even if someone knows the password. So what two-factor authentication does is, even if the attacker gets access, for example, even if the attacker gets access to my computer, it cannot access the account and resources that I have in my computer. The two-factor authentication is like a two-factor verification. We have in WhatsApp also that two-factor verification. So it reduce the risk and build secure online relationship encrypted. Nowadays, most of the system have the inbuilt two-factor authentication system, but most of them don't have the facility of two-factor authentication. So we can use Google Authenticator for keeping our computer safe. Thank you, ma'am.
Use that emails, or either you shouldn't check that emails that have come from hackers. So how could I know that this email or the email that has been came from other hacker or any suspicious activity hackers, so that email is not confirmed? So how can I know that that email is not came from them, or either the email is not suspicious or suspicious?
Look, if
Hmm.
if an email is coming from a legit website or legit company, like for example, if an
Okay.
email is coming from the State Bank of India,
Okay.
then the email you can open the email and you can see that it have some class. It will be written in a form that you can understand by reading it that it is coming from a legit website or legit
Like
company.
like a basic
Like
email will be prashant@gmail.com, prashant@yahoo.com, but a business email would be like company@prashant.com. So the user who is checking my email will get that the email is perfect and it is not come from the suspicious activities.
yeah,
Am I right?
and yes, and also most of the time you
Hmm.
can check your email too. There are many email coming, many email in your inbox coming from
Hmm.
like you don't even know from where it is coming from. Okay,
Okay.
and you can check that some of them have pronunciation of sorry, pre- conjunction mistake or grammar mistake or spelling mistake. You can check it. So
Okay.
by like taking by looking at this, you can be like you can identify that the site that the email coming from, and you don't even know from where it is coming from. So you must avoid clicking it without
And I
checking
have
it
one more
twice.
question. You also have told about Google Authenticator.
Yeah.
Can I use it directly from the Google Play Store? I should directly install the Google Authenticator app, or either I should connect that Authenticator app to the Gmail. So how can I use that
Look,
feature with my Gmail account?
also I have talked about the Google two-factor authentication. It is present
Okay.
only in Mac OS and Linux. It's inbuilt in that system in Mac OS and Linux. But others like Windows don't have two-factor authentication. So you can use Google Authenticator, and you have to put your email as well, Gmail
Hmm. Hmm.
account, and you can sign in, and you can install it in your system and use it.
Oh, basically, I'm using Google Authenticator. The Gmail
Yeah.
account which I have using, the OTP is always getting refreshed multiple times. So the hacker who will try to access the my Gmail account, he cannot access because the OTP is refreshing multiple times. So that's why Google Authenticator is a good layer to save your
Yeah.
Gmail accounts and other system security accounts.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. That was a good question answer round. Anybody else who would like to ask them anything? Anyone else? Okay. Okay. Thank you, both of you. Next, we start because we don't have
Thank
much
you,
time.
ma'am.
So yeah. Thank you. It was a good presentation. Okay. Next, uh, Farasile, on this. Yeah, yeah. Longclair and Siddharth. Are you both there?
Yes, ma'am.
What about now? Okay, both are present. Okay. Okay, you can start.
Siddharth, hello.
My name is Siddharth Chetri, and me and Lonkir are presenting on a topic called computer virus and worms. Ma'am, next slide, please. What is a virus? Definition: a computer virus is a malicious software or a program loaded into a user's computer without the user knowledge and perform malicious activities. It can self-replicate, inserting itself into another program or file, infecting them in a process. A virus is a program which the person who creates it in a way that when it goes to someone's uh, uh, PC or which the device they want to affect, they just need the virus to click and load into that system. When they load the virus into the system, it does replicate itself and does perform whatever the attacker wants to do. Such, if the virus want to collect information, they can do it from there. Or the virus acts in a very different way. It makes the device makes uh, a bit slow or bit affected. It makes the device very slow, or it makes the device looks makes slower. Next slide. The types of virus. Boot sector virus. Boot sector virus infected the boot sector partition table of a disk. Once the hard drive is infected, all your disks that you have used in your computer will be infected. It basically means the boot sector virus is a virus that affects when the user boot the systems. Uh, and this virus will affect all the drives. First, it will affect the boot drive, then it will affect all the drives present in the system. The program virus. It becomes active when the file carrying virus will be executed once. Once executed, it makes copies of itself and affect other programs on computer. This is a very popular type of virus. Nowadays, it's very common. This virus, uh, it first the attacker sends it to the yeah, to the device or the person whom they want to attack. They will send it to them. Once they execute the virus itself replicate itself and affect all the program present in the device. The residential. The third one is residential virus. Residential virus set up shop in the RAM, model your system operation. They are so sneaky that they can even attach themselves to your antivirus software files. This type of virus, it affect the RAM of the device, and after a period of time, it affect that much that they easily get connected to the antivirus software, and it's affecting them also. And the last one is multi-parted virus. The virus infect the entire system. Multi-parted virus spread by performing unauthorized action on the operating system, folders, and program. This type of virus usually locks the program which the user want to access, or they might delete the program and ask the user for uh, and ask the attacker usually in this type of virus asks for payment so that they could give the user the key to unlock their program which they need in order to their which are important file. They lock themselves so the user can access it instead, and they ask for payment so that they can give them the key which unlocks the folder or programs, which is very useful for the user. Lonkir, next slide, ma'am. Lonkir, please describe us
Yeah.
more.
All right. So Siddharth has been talking about a virus. So now let us discuss about the worms. So like when we think of a worms or mention about worms, like probably like we think of a wriggly creatures that children play with and adults use as a bite when fishing. Like them or not, worms are completely harmless unless you are thinking of computer worms. They may not be destructive as computer viruses, but computer worms can be just as dangerous. So, the definition it says a computer worm is a type of malware that spread copies of itself from computer to computer. A worm can replicate itself without any human interaction, and it does not need to attach itself to a software program in order to cause damage. So you guys may be wondering like how does the computer worms did or or how does the computer worm spread? How does computer worms work? So like, all right, the computer worms did like it modified and delete files, and they can even inject additional malicious software onto a computer. Sometimes a computer worm's did purpose is only to make copies of itself over and over, depleting system resources such as hard drive space or bandwidth by overloading a shared networks. Ma'am, next. All right, so here are some of the types of worms. First, it is internet worms. Like they do with computer networks, computer worms also target popular websites with insufficient insecurities. When they when they manage to infect a site, internet worms can replicate themselves onto any computer being used to access the website in question. From there, internet worms are distributed to others connected computers through the internet and local area network. Email worms. Email worms are most often distributed via compromised email attachments. They usually have double extensions. For example, like m4a.exe or avi or .exe, so that the recipients would think that they are media files and not malicious computer programs. When the victims click on the attachment, copies of the same files infected file will automatically be sent to addresses from their contact list. Instant messaging worms. Instant messaging worms are exactly the same as email worms, the only difference being their method of distribution. Once again, they are masked as attachment or clickable links to website. They are often accompanied by short messages like LOL or you have to see this, or trick the victim into thinking that their friend is sending them a funny video to look at. Ma'am, next. All right. Uh, Sign of being infected by viruses and worms. Point one, slow computer performance, freezing or crashing, programs opening and running automatically, irregular web browser performance, unusual computer behavior like a message, image, sound, etc., firewall warnings, missing or modified files, appearance of strange unintended desktop files or icon, operating system error and system error message, email sends to contact without the user knowledge. Uh, now Siddharth will tell us how to protect yourself from viruses and worms.
So in order to protect ourselves from viruses or worms, first of all, uh, in Windows or in devices which are used for commercial purpose, we need to use antivirus. We need to purge the antivirus and we need to use it. There is nothing free antivirus and they don't work. Actually, they are kind of virus and they also gather information from your device and makes your device laggy or bit slow. And second, when we install the antivirus, the company keeps updating the antivirus. So in order to protect yourself from the latest worms or virus, we need to keep the antivirus software up to date. Third one is run regular schedule scans with your antivirus software. Yes, we always connect our device with other device. We share songs, videos, movies, or profiles, and so some virus can come to your PC without your knowledge. So in order to protect yourself from them, even if you have antivirus installed in your PC, some might skip. So you, in order to protect yourself, you need to run antivirus in a week or so, so that you can know what programs are there which might affect your PC or device. Keep your operating system current. uh, this means that you also need to update the in Windows, you can say Windows version of the PC, which they ask you to install the latest version, because when they get bugs or virus or worms which they know that affect the PC, they keep updating their operating system so that they can solve all the problems in the latest in the previous version, and they fix it in the latest version. And most importantly, when we browse in internet, we should always think before we click, because most of the sites are not secure, or they don't provide enough security for the users. So we might get affected. Mostly we get affected through the uh, internet due to various virus they keep running on the net, which we accidentally click and come into our system, then they do harm to our system. Thank you, man.